What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing, and today I'm going to be predicting the outcome of Gilberto Ramirez versus Dominic Boesel, and this is going to be a 12-rounder for the WBA light heavyweight world title eliminator, and this fight is going to be Saturday, May 14th from the Toyota Arena in Ontario, California, and this fight is going to be broadcasted on DAZN. And to get both fighters' resumes, Gilberto Ramirez, fighting out of Mexico, holds a record of 43 wins with no defeats and 29 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently ranked number 4 by BoxRec in the light heavyweight division. He's also the former WBA super-middleweight world champion. And to list some of his best victories, he has a unanimous decision win over Arthur Abraham, a unanimous decision win over Maxime Bursak, a unanimous and majority decision victory over Jesse Hart, a unanimous decision win over Romer Alexis Angulo. He also has a knockout win over Tommy Carpensi, a knockout win over Sullivan Barrera, and he's coming off a thriller knockout win over Yunieski Gonzalez. And to get his opponent's resume, Dominic Boesel, fighting out of Germany, holds a record of 32 wins with 2 defeats and 12 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently ranked number 18 by BoxRec in the light heavyweight division. He's also the former WBA interim light heavyweight world champion, and he is the current IBO light heavyweight world champion, but is not for that belt, or this fight is not for that title. And to list both of his defeats, he has a unanimous decision loss some years ago, or should I say a knockout loss actually, some years ago against Karo Murat, and he also has a shock upset knockout loss to Robin Krasniqi in their first fight. And to list some of his best victories, he has a unanimous decision win over Enrico Koling, and he also has a knockout win over Sven Fornling. And in his most recent fight, he got a sort of controversial split decision win in his rematch over Robin Krasniqi. And in my opinion, this fight is really just easy to predict. I think it will be a dominant showing of Gilberto Ramirez's skill, power, and speed, and just his overall package as a fighter. I really think that it will just be an easy showing of his skill, as I mentioned before. And I think that this fight is not really too hard to predict. Boesel, we've seen him get knocked out before. He doesn't have the best chin. Remember, Krasniqi only has 20-something knockouts and 50 wins, and he got knocked out cold by him, and he's also got stopped by Murat, as I mentioned before. So he doesn't have the greatest chin going into this fight, actually. And he's really only beaten at the world level, like a top 25 world level in the heavyweight division. That's really just a top-tier European level. So really, Boesel has only been a top-tier European level in the heavyweight division. I know that he was an interim champion, whatnot, but really those guys he was beating in Europe were just top-tier European guys. But now coming to the United States, he's facing one of the top 10 best light heavyweights in the world, a former super middleweight champion, undefeated, 43 wins. This is going to be an easy fight to predict, in my opinion. And it's definitely one of the easier ones to predict of this weekend. There's a lot of fight cards, and this happens to be one of the easier ones to predict, as I mentioned many times in this video already. And just before I break down this fight, I want you guys to comment down below your thoughts on this fight. Who you think is going to win, and what is next for the winner? Most likely Gilberto Ramirez. So just to break down this fight real quick, this is really going to be a quicker prediction compared to my other ones. I just think that Gilberto Ramirez is just overall the better fighter. He's the bigger fighter, the stronger fighter, fought the better competition, much more experienced actually than Boesel, even though he's much younger. And just round by round, how I think this fight is going to be, I think that every round is really going to be the same. I think that we will see Gilberto Ramirez come forward, go to the body, go to the head with big shots, really just break down Boesel, and ultimately get a stoppage win. I think that Boesel will be the one off the back foot, on the outside, really trying to get away from Zurdo's punches, and he really will be the one trying to possibly land some counters that wouldn't really work at all, and really just try and survive, but I don't think that he will. I really think that he will have a high punch output, and I really think that he'll just be in there as sort of a human punching bag. That's a blunt way to put it. I think that, Boesel will not really be a test at all for Gilberto Ramirez. I don't really think he will even pose a threat to him, being that he only has 12 knockouts and 32 wins, and that's the only way that Boesel could win this fight is by just a one-punch crazy knockout, but I don't even see that happening. That's like a 0.0001% chance of that happening. I know people say boxing, anything can happen, but this fight is not it. I don't really see how any way this could be an upset. I mean, if it is, I mean, it would be. I know that on paper it probably wouldn't be the biggest upset, but I mean, it's really just looking at both these guys, a top 10 guy versus Boesel, who's really only beaten a top European level. I just don't really see him having much success, and I think that he will get stopped. And I mean, if he pulls off an upset, I mean, it's probably going to be my pick for upset of the year. But I mean, assuming that's not going to happen, my actual pick obviously is a destructive and dominant win for Gilberto Ramirez, and I think that Ramirez will break down and stop Dominic Boesel from rounds 4 to rounds 8. I know that, I mean, like, it probably will happen, like, in round 4, 5, 6, but, I mean, if Boesel can survive, could happen in round 7 or round 8, but ultimately I don't see Boesel making the distance, or even just winning this fight, or even winning a single round. Really, throughout this fight, the judges' scorecards will all be in favor of Zurdo Ramirez every single round, even if this goes the full 12, which it probably won't. Will most likely be 121 away. I don't really see even Boesel's game even posing a threat to Ramirez. Like, I don't think his punches have enough snap on him to keep Ramirez off him. I mean, at least in Ramirez's last fight, Yunieski Gonzalez wasn't as skilled as Ramirez, but at least he had the power and the speed on his punches to sort of back up Ramirez sometimes, maybe even rock him a bit. But Boesel just doesn't have that speed, doesn't have that power, not really much skill, and I really think that Ramirez just levels ahead of him and will get a stoppage win, and dominant one of that. And he could brutally knock out Boesel. He could stop him standing, a corner stoppage. Nonetheless, it will be a stoppage win, or even a knockout win for Gilberto Ramirez. So overall, I believe that Gilberto Ramirez will dominate and stop Dominic Boesel and get a knockout victory from rounds 4 to rounds 8 to stand beaten at 44-0 with 30 knockouts. And to get us really it, I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.